Hey everybody, I'm Trevor.
I'm Vincent.
And we are the Anthony and Todd Show. Today we're going to be taking a look at Interpol's latest record, Marauder. Interpol's a New York rock band, part of that kind of New York punk rock, post-punk revival, alongside influential bands such as The Strokes, LCD Sound System, and James Murphy's sweaty basketball shirt, and the Yeah Yeah Yeahs. Interpol's best known for their debut album Turn on the Bright Lights in 2002, took kind of a long hiatus around 2011, went on a tour, recorded another album, LP tour, and I've kind of dwelled in that, basked in the popularity of their debut album for a long time, but finally recorded their fifth studio album, Marauder, after the anniversary tour for Turn on the Bright Lights.
So this new record that they released, this Marauder album, it focuses more on this Marauder character, and that's kind of the overall narrative, is that one of these characters is figured in a majority of these tracks, and it deals with how he is lonely, he isolates himself, he's hard to get to, he's hard to reach, he's hard to connect with, and he has a hard time connecting with other people. And it's essentially about his relationship with himself. That idea is a good start to an overarching narrative. You could talk about anxiety and not being able to connect with people emotionally, or not being able to connect with people just physically, I guess, or how it's just hard to relate to other people, because some people don't have like mental problems or mental health issues that they can't connect with people, but other people just can't connect. Like, they have nothing wrong with them. They just either inside their head, or they just can't relate for some reason. They're missing like a tool that they haven't attained yet. And that's like a big idea you can go for, and you can be very brief on it. Whereas this is just making this character seem like any white guy ever, any nerdy white guy in any indie film ever.
Socially awkward, sticks to himself, doesn't really go out a lot, even when like people would invite him. Incredibly believable, but also you don't really know many of them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's
a very cliche idea, and Interpol is falling back on that kind of story and narrative that people have already done before, and they're just like saying, well, the work's done for us, let's make music.
So yeah, this thing is not only messing up theme-wise and idea-wise with its narrative, but it's actually messing up with band chemistry. It just doesn't have good grooves, good riffs, good drum beats. There's nothing there. It doesn't feel like a complete package. It feels like there's no charisma to anything in this performance. I think this thing is just lacking any charisma in general, whether it is with band chemistry, whether it is performance-wise with Paul Banks' vocals. He just seems very run-of-the-mill indie rock. Whether it is also with lyricism or ideas being presented, or just, I feel in all of this album is just lacking on charisma or interest and hooks especially. I don't think this thing should be as catchy as all get out. There's thousands of other indie rock bands to take this old guard spot. So why aren't they trying to outdo them in one area they can actually done, and they have done before, with hooks?
Yeah.
This thing's not catchy, does not have any notable band chemistry, has no interesting production or performances. What is the point of it? Also, if this thing doesn't present me with any ideas that make me question anything, or make me think, wow, this is smart, what is the point of it? Like, what is the point of creating this character? What is the point of doing all this? If you're missing extra spice, what is the point? Like, you need that spice. You need to get lost in the spice. Like, I think even if you don't have your fundamentals down, but you have character, you can still make something that's interesting that's bad.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people actually oversee it, the flaws, just because it is so interesting. Whereas this is just, its fundamentals are okay. Like, they don't, it's just
fine. They've been playing for years. You know, they've been playing together as a band for multiple years. been on multiple tours, created multiple albums. I think that the way that they get along and write music is completely fine, and I think they're veterans of the industry. But they're missing that zing that would put this record above and beyond. You need something that's going to take your fundamentals to the next level. You need that extended technique, and this doesn't have that extended technique.
Yeah, it's just missing the kablamo sauce, you know? It's just missing, like, it's like eating chicken nuggets without a sauce, just raw. It's just like, okay, I'm missing something. Like,
I'm missing the cooking of the chicken nuggets.
Like, it's just like, I think there's nothing like completely wrong with this. Like, again, their fundamentals are fine, but there isn't anything that makes me want to like pay attention.
Yeah.
But going through kind of everything, some moments I found that were notable. Complications has this high-pitched guitar riff, literally sounds like I'm listening to a Primus track. Like, I thought literally for a second we're gonna start hearing "Going Down South Park." Like, I was totally willing to accept that. I was like, that's gonna be more interesting than what Interpol is providing on this. It probably matters. He wants to be King Cruel. I'm just going to leave it there. It's just like he provides some character to his voice at the worst possible time in a track that is overly cheesy, overly romantic, and overly like just paranoid in the worst possible way. Going back to the Marauder character, I find him to be, again, extremely flat, but the most notable moments in that in general is It Probably Matters, where he's talking about how he wants to have answers in a relationship that doesn't like need answer. Like, I don't sense a struggle in this narrative. I don't sense a struggle in like all these tracks. So I don't understand what the point is, if that makes sense. Like, there's no conflict. There's no internal conflict. There's no external conflict. It is just him going through his head over and over and over and over and over and over again, but not having any purpose to. Which is a thing that can happen, but just because it can happen and it is a struggle doesn't make it a conflict and doesn't make it interesting. This album has very almost kind of abstract lyricism, or I've heard people say it's abstract lyricism. I heard reviews call this abstract lyricism. I heard fans call this abstract lyricism. It's not abstract. This is just because it's not giving away everything doesn't make it abstract. It just makes it underdeveloped, undercooked. It's like eating a raw turkey. Like, it's just like... It's
like eating raw chicken nuggets with no sauce.
Yeah. It's just like, you're not exploring these ideas fully. Well, what are the point of these ideas? Yeah. Complications is just the fullest example of just him being inside his own head and just kind of going through like the paranoia of people not liking you or understanding you.
Yeah.
And my description of that is actually way more fucking interesting than the actual track. But some moment, like, after being harsh with this record, what are some things I actually enjoy? If You Really Love Nothing is a great example of passive aggressive, just passive aggressiveness in general. It shows an example of, I don't care. Well, you say you don't care, but you actually care the most about it. This is a die-hard subject for you. You care heavily about it, but you're saying one thing. You say one thing, you mean another, essentially. The moment Mountain Child, I think, is also good because it takes this outcast character and introduces him to another person. It's about an outcast being an outcast and falling in love with another
outcast.
And then wanting to learn from this outcast to be a better person. I find Paul to be catchy on this track. I found this track to be interesting lyrically. And I think this is one of the moments where they kind of got their stuff together. Is it still missing elements? Yeah, still, but I think it's enjoyable nonetheless. And The Party's Over is what happens when someone with no friends wants to throw a party, I guess. It's not the best well-written, but I think the ideas that this track presents is better than the actual lyricism, and I may give that credit, but I think this overall is one of the better tracks as well.
Yeah.
Because it shows kind of this isolationist connecting with people online, but not connecting with actual people, but more connecting with their profiles and having an intimate time with their profiles and essentially partying by himself, which... It's not explained to the fullest, but I think the ideas that this track shows me are actually bigger than the track can actually provide. And I think that's about it. That's all I got to really say. I don't think this album has really too much to it. There's some other moments like Surveillance where it just is super cheesy, talking about your life is a movie and you live it frame to frame. And I'm just like, okay, when did I put a Christian rock album in my CD player, and can I take it out?
Jim Carrey.
Yeah. Also, Fight of Flancy is a politically heavy track talking about thought crimes, which is just out of character of the rest of this record. Not that I have a problem with the ideas that this track's throwing, it's just that they don't make sense in this narrative of everything else, and they just seem so out of place. And the fact that it is just one of the more annoying tracks in this list as well. Yeah, this album is missing spice, it's missing the puncher, I guess, the punchiness. It's missing just elements in general. It's not not because I don't think I'm missing these elements as much as they're just not there.
They're not present.
I think as a whole, they could have done something way better than this. They are capable of way better than this. And they didn't fight for their spot. I think a lot of these older acts aren't coming back with fighting for their spot. Like, Albert Hammer Jr. was fine, but he didn't fight for his spot. Voids was good. They actually fought for their spot. Jack White actually fought with his spot. LCD did not fight for their spot. But like, we're getting a lot of these artists who aren't taking full advantage of that. They think their success will just hold them forward, and they can just keep on kind of making the same sound and just going back and throwing back the same old ideas, but missing what made those ideas great was the playing, the performances, the hooks. And without those, you were just throwing around 2000 era ideology and themes at us in an era where there are better people who can do your job better than you. So what's the point of everything? Give us that spice, you know? Give us that Spice Girls. We need a Spice Girls reunion. We need that spice. We need that zinger, you know, to really package everything together into something. This is listenable, but it's not good enough to make me pay attention.
Yeah.
It doesn't want me to pay attention. And I think that's all I really got to say. I feel an out of 10 on this, and I think they can do better. Way better. And if you want to hear us talk more about albums and be really disappointed in them, we have plenty of albums we don't like, but we talk about anyway on our channel. So if you want to see that, we have an entire least favorite playlist.
That's our specialty.
Just being really angry. That is our specialty. We also have a weekly podcast called The Anthony and Todd Show on Apple Music and Spotify. If you want to check us out every week, audio form only, the best of the show, the best bits. Take us with you on the go. Take us with you on that nature hike, or on that drive to Baltimore, or whatever you're doing. Take us with you. You can keep us in your pocket on your phone and just jam out with us in some headphones, you know?
Wow.
But until next time, guys, I have been John Cena.
I've been Ric Flair.
And goodbye, boyos.
Bye, everybody.